uko fiti, uko fiti.
Welcome to the Uko Fiti podcast, where we have open, honest and genuine conversations about issues ambazo zina affect youths. Halafu tunajaribu kutaa hizi vitu zote kwa issues za mental health. So leo we have a very good, interesting guest. Na tunataka kuongelea story ya mental health, specifically na young people and the practice of mental health and her experience kwa hii field ya mental health. Karibu sana Grace, introduce yourself.
Thank you. Oh Lord, if I nakwanga ngori. So my name is Grace Gathitu, and I am a but anyway, I'm a psychologist by profession. However, I'm a sister, an auntie, I'm a new mom.
Congratulations.
Thank you. And I'm also a mental health advocate as well as a human rights defender.
Sa karibu sana kwa hii podcast yetu. And kwa sababu umeona huku tunaongeaga issues za youth, alafu stories za mental health. So kuna hiyo linkages, hiyo connectivity. And today uko hapa kama a young person who is also a practicing psychologist.
Yeah.
And we also want to see, okay, what has been your experience? Okay, what inspired you? Like ni nini ilikufanya ukataka kuingia kwa hii space ya mental health?
Ikitu ilianza kitambo. First of all, I'm specialized in child and adolescent therapy. So it's a good thing that we are here today. And ilianza nikiwa tuseme like when I was 13. I didn't know what was happening. My brother had a lived experience with schizophrenia. So we didn't really understand what was happening as a family. We didn't understand what was happening to him. You know, kuna vitu mobzi huendelea. So there's one time he had an episode and it was like a major one that landed him. Yani hizo days mzee alikuwa anakujiwa na karau kuenda Mathare.
Yeah.
So I was around 13. I remember it was the day before doing MOOCs and kwa class 8. And so when it happened, I was like, now you go and visit him and you see the state of... I remember that was my first experience with Mathare. And the state was really bad.
Wakati Mathare ilikuwa Mathare.
Wakati Mathare ilikuwa Mathare. Mazee wase ulikuwa unaangalia, wase wako kwa grau, sasa now wakiachiliwa or something. And there are people who don't have shoes, there are people who are bullies, kuna wenye. So I remember even seeing this young man, I've never forgotten it. Like in my head, I just remember, because we were going to visit my brother, I remember telling my mom, can we visit him too? Because alikuwa amebuliwa, amenyang'anywa food, na akwa na viatu, alikuwa mchafu, as in, so I was wondering what's going on. So we started bringing him clothes. Every time we'd visit my brother, we'd bring him clothes and whatever. So upon maybe my first interaction with mental health, the whole aspect. So of course now you needed to know more. Of course tulipelekwa kwa counselors, a family, and I was really interested to know what is, like I wanted to know more because eventually this same brother, when he passed on, when I was the following year, I think, the following year, if I'm not wrong, because I was around 14 at the time, and nilikuwa naingia high school. So nikiingia high school ilikuwa orientation the day before, nilikuwa nimepata calling letter nini. Then he passes on and I was supposed to report to Form 1. So when we went for orientation, the principal was like, you've had enough time to grieve your brother, so she has to come to school. So I went to school, or rather I reported to Form 1 the day after my brother's funeral. So I didn't understand what was happening to me. So when I'm in school, I'm in class, I find myself just crying. You know, fine, it was the grieving process as well, because I wasn't given a chance to grieve. So I didn't know that I had existing conditions.
Yeah.
So this is where the part where when it's genetic or when it's in your
Hereditary, yeah.
So it's we didn't know. So I also didn't know that I had existing conditions. So at the time, I used to get anger outbursts. Unanipata now towards Form 4, when I was getting now to Form 4, Form 3, Form 4, I was getting anger outbursts. I was getting, yani nilikuwa na mood swings zingine mwenda, you know. Then my friends used to understand. My friends, actually that's where the concept of mental haven came from.
Yeah.
Because my friends used to call them my zone moments. So sometimes I'd be happy, sometimes I'm just completely sad, and I don't even understand what's going on with me. So for me, I thought it was the grieving, but eventually, it lasted a bit too long.
Yeah.
Even after high school, I'd get bouts. I didn't know it was depression then. I just think I'm sad, because I didn't even know what depression was, you know. So that's something that people just, I'm so depressed. You know, back then, by the way, people used to say they're depressed, to say they're stressed, or something is disturbing them.
Yeah.
So eventually, I just felt like there was something wrong with me. But at the time, from when I was in primary school, guys would tell me I'm a good listener. Like, I listen to them when they talk, I hold space for them. Because for me, I grew up in a family of 7 children, and I was the last born. Na nilikuwa kale retirement baby. So the rest of them are like older. Si wazee sana.
Yeah.
Because mwenye nafuata ako like 3 years older than me. So huyo ndio I think tulikuwa tuna hang out sana. Na mwenye ako na 5 years older than me na my brother. Now the 3 of us maybe tulikuwa tumekaribiana. But now like my firstborn sister and firstborn brother, they were in campus when I was still in primary. You know, like walikuwa wase. So now me, I was more of a loner when I was growing up. Because unasikia niliachwa primary peke yangu. Unaona sasa I'm relate. So nilikuwa I liked giving people space, because I usually felt like that's what I would have wanted to be done to me. Okay, it's sort of like my empathy is sort of natural, because even when I was a kid, even my mom used to tell me, like, I don't know how to get mad at someone. Like, I was very kaka katoto ka sweet, naive, thinks the world is perfect and how I want to save the world and how, you know, and sometimes I'd feel someone's pain, like you'd be there, and the reason I'd give you space is because I'm just like, wow, you must be going through such a hard time, even since I was a kid. So I just sit there with you, because I don't know what to do, so I just sit there with you. Wanajipata tu wamevent, so like this is something that probably I started doing from a very early age, because even my brothers, my sisters would confide in me. Because iyo tu ile kutokana na you look like you're having such a hard time, let me just sit there with you, you know, and just listen to you if you want to vent. So in high school, my friends started telling me, like, you know, you'd make a good counselor, and I was like, what is that? Mimi nilikuwa nataka sijui kwa accountant. Sikumbukangi hata ilikuwa nini. But it's because of my dad. I didn't even like maths. I think I was relatively okay in maths, but then again, I was just like, I think I just wanted, you know, every girl just loves their father. You know, I was just idolizing my dad.
The first love.
Yeah. So, and still I wasn't very sure. I was into arts as well. I think art is something that is in my family as well. Because my brothers are even, my brother is a thespian, the other one was an actor. And they also do screenplays and, you know, whatever. So, art is something I was also exposed to from a very early age. So, it's something I was interested in. So, I think at the time I wanted to either be an accountant or a designer. So, later on, what happens? Yeah, so ikitu iko at the back of my mind. So when I'm in high school and I'm going through all these mood swings, I decide, ama nifanye psychology ndio nijisaidie. That is So I always tell people the reason I became a psychologist at first, or studied psychology, was because I wanted to help myself. Because I felt like I was off. There was something.
You are holding space for others, and nobody is holding space for you.
Because I'm not even allowing them as well. Because now I've already adopted that savior complex.
You're saving now everybody.
Everyone, but I'm not giving. So ushapata hiyo label. So wezi kwa kuna kitu mbaya na wewe.
Watu utajifungulia nani na wote ni wewe wanakujiaga.
Exactly. So at the time, so nika apply job nilikuwa nataka kufanya psychology KU. Then when we did KCSE, nini, nikapata calling letter from there. But now my mom preferred me to go to UN because she didn't want me to board. Which was okay because it turned out fine. So, yeah, I did the course. It turned out it wasn't really helping. Fine, you get to know stuff, but then again you're wondering, now how do I apply this to myself? Because unaona niko bado kwa ile mission ya kujisaidia. And my mood swings are still mood swinging. I'm still feeling I'm still depressed at the time, but at the time I just used to explain it as I feel such deep sadness. I can't explain it. I feel such disorientation because sometimes my depression would not present itself as sadness. Sometimes I'd be manic.
So you're hyper.
So like you're in good moods, such good moods, and you do stuff, you even commit yourself to things. Ikifika hiyo siku ya kufanya mazee unaamka ukisikia kai nani alinituma nani aliniambia niseme hivyo nani aliniambia to show up because now I used to struggle. Like my friends would be like, we're meeting up, you're excited, you're like, yeah, we're going to meet up, nini, and then I wake up feeling sasa nani aliniambia niseme hivyo nini. And then I'd be like, and I'd have to cancel. So a lot of my friends felt like I was a shady friend, because I'd commit to things and then nashindwa. And I can't explain to someone. I swear I tried with everything in me to get out of bed. I couldn't. And this is something that people were not conversant with. Mtu atakuuliza, what do you mean you couldn't get out of bed? You know?
Unaweka tu mguu chini na unashuka.
Like sometimes even my mom would ask, what do you mean you can't sleep? Like so unaingia kwa bed unafunga macho because I had bad insomnia as well. And so the insomnia kind of helped because now I started blogging about my mental health. And it was an outlet as well as my artistic expression. And I found that, and weird enough, it wasn't people from Kenya, it was people from outside who were responding. And they're like, thank you for talking about this. Because I used to just talk about different things. At the time, kumbuka, I still don't know what's wrong with me. I'm just, at this point, I can see I'm depressed, but I don't know what, sijadiagnoziwa, sijatake any steps. So, at this time, I know what depression is, and I'm sure I have depression, And so I'm talking about depression most times. And then, for some reason, kitu ilikuwa inaniguza niongelele bipolar. Na sijui kwa nini. So I used to talk about bipolar because I used to see it's something that's very misunderstood, haieleweki, but I also didn't know about it. So I thought I used it as an opportunity to also know about it. So I wrote about it as well. And then ikafika, and let me tell you the funny thing is, at that point, my friends used to bash me for it. They're like, why are you telling people these things?
Why are you opening up?
Everyone,
a feature.
Yeah, nilikuwa nasikia everyone gets depressed all the time. Kwani what is special? And even, unapata, at the time the guy I was dating, I told him, I opened up to him. First of all, there's a friend of mine, her name is Leila, she's like a very huge support system for me. And I told her, I don't think I'm okay, I need to go for counseling. And she had experienced counseling before, so she told me, it's okay. Wacha nituke shule. She used to be in choir, and I was in UN. So nikaenda class. Yeah, I actually attended her class.
Uliamua tu kwenda choir sasa.
Nili-attend class ya law, so anyway, so at that point, we went to Amani counseling, and that was my first experience with counseling. And I know it's supposed to be, wow, it was so beautiful, life-changing. Oh my God, it was horrible. Because this woman, I don't know if it was because I don't want to judge.
No, judge. This is a safe space.
She was pregnant and she was sleeping in between the session, or she was judging me. She was just, it's like she was mad at me,
Unaingia mahali kusaidiwa.
Like, why would you do that? And then she starts telling me the way God does not want you to do that, and and I'm just like, I felt judged when I got out of there more than helped, But the weirdest thing is I felt kind of relieved because I talked about things I had never even spoken about, even to myself. And I had cried. I felt relieved in a way, as much as this counselor did not help me. I felt yo kuongea na kulia na it was it was worth it. And so I didn't really continue with the sessions. I just did like 2 or 3 or something, then I stopped. But that experience made me feel like, maybe I'm in the wrong profession. Because now alinichafua roho, so I was just like, I don't think I want to do this, you know. But nishaingia kwa course, so I can't. At the times, niko third year, I must really
Huwezi change course.
So I just continued with it with the hope that, you know, with a psychology degree. Alafu time zetu ilikuwa ukitoka, niligraduate 2014, so ukitoka hakukuwa na makazi. So you can do anything. And then I felt like that background for psychology was, you know. So yeah, so I get into the field first. Niliingia Red Cross, I used to nikaona wacha niingie community development nini. So I did a bit of that. I was very sure at that moment, I think, and I had the best bosses as an intern, and I was so sure that I wanted to be in the community development sociology field.
Yeah.
I just didn't. Unajua mental health sasa hatujui madhara tu ndio tunajua about.
Haijakuwa exposed vizuri, still like a new thing.
Yes. So I continued blogging. I continued, you know, I was actually doing awareness creation. I didn't even know what I was doing.
Yeah.
But at the time, I was using it as a relief for myself. But at the end of the day, I was also getting, you know, to help other people understand. So when what happened? This is after campus now. After campus, I'm working and I get into such a toxic work environment. Yenye nilitoka sasa kwa NGO feel cause ngona kuna pesa na zilikuwa tunateseka. Unatama kuna unaenda activity unalipwa 600 ama
alafu sasa wanasema community work unajitolea. So
there was a lot of volunteership back then. So there's no money, so I decided to go to a different field. I got into the tourism industry and then I was in a pretty toxic work environment. So ikanirarukia tena. I started getting depressed. Sasa now this depression is being followed is now manic because now I'm drinking daily. Ilifika mahali na kunywa daily. Hadi naenda job na hata silali juu unaona saa insomnia imenirarukia pia other symptoms that even I have bad insomnia, so I'm not sleeping. I'm leaving the club kama nimeoga nimeenda job. So ilikuanga, and back then that's the worst thing about Kenya because now people think that's okay.
Sherehe.
But nilikuwa natandika sherehe.
Life is lifing now.
Nilikuanga anaitwanga chief nini? Nilikuwa hiyo wimbo inaangaje. Nilikuwa like I was the life of the party. I was that main, you know. So for me, because it was normalized, I thought it was okay. I thought it's, you know, I'm just fun. I've become a fun person. And so kidogo, I'm just wondering, why don't I feel okay? Even, you know, even in what they don't say about mania, or maybe they say it, the people who are experiencing it, but what people don't know is, it's not that you're in such a high, everything is okay. You're still experiencing those bouts of, what am I doing here? Who are these people? Do I even like them? You're in a, kuna
conflict inaendelea.
Unakaa unasema ndio maana unakunywa more because you don't want to think about where are these people, you know. So ilikuwa then unajua the good thing is I've always been self aware. Hiyo kukaa peke yangu ilikuwa inanisaidia because now I was just like there is something wrong. At this point even my brother is even telling me you don't smile with your eyes anymore. Because I used to be fake. A happy child. My son reminds me of how I was a happy child. My son is such a happy baby. And he's always laughing. Kashacheka. You know, like he's such a happy kid. And that's who I was, you know. And and so my brother, even my mom was like, nowadays you're just uko tu. You're so, it's like, I think my eyes were dead. And when I looked at photos of me, I was like, like my eyes looked dead. Like I had died inside for so long. And so COVID came, tuseme tu fast track to COVID. And sasa hapo ndo zilinirarukia major. Yani nilikuwa nakasirika hadi naanza kujiscratch. For me nilinotice ningekasirika nilikuwa najiumiza. Because I couldn't afford to hurt anyone. Yani sikuwa naweza kuumiza. So I used to hurt myself. So I used to gonga myself, I scratch myself. So cause nilikuwa na hasira. Yani hiyo hasira ilikuwanga major. Sikuwa na understand hiyo hasira. Like I'd even shake and even start crying. siwezi ongea. Yani it was such a paralyzing anger that I didn't understand where it was coming from. So nikaenda on a bender tena, because sometimes it swings from mania to like the depressive state. So nilikuanga tu hapo na navigate hapo tu. So nikaingia kwa benda, sasa nikaingia mania tena, nikaanza kunywa. Then at this point I'm just like, this is not me. Nimeanza kukua academic kingine hapa, hata sijielewi, yani nakaa tu. And I'm like, I'm an intelligent person, I have a future, but why am I acting as if someone who is, I used to...
Why am I doing this?
Why am I doing these things? Then you hate yourself for it, but you can't stop.
Yeah.
And it's not that I noticed I was not addicted to alcohol, because when I was doing something engaging or something that I enjoy, I couldn't even think about it, you know. But when I was just with myself, I noticed I couldn't stay with myself. So the worst part about this culture we have cultivated in Kenya for hii sherehe is you find your group. You always find it. Yeah. So the people who knew me, I found myself separating myself from them because I was ashamed. I was ashamed of what I'd become. So I used to hang out with the people who don't even notice. They're just when
ni wote ni walevi.
Sawa, ni wote ni walevi.
Kipatana ni sherehe alafu tunaenda.
And sometimes we'd go on benders, this is zinaitwa aluta. Unaona, mmepati siku mbili continuous na miss jalala. So there's a time this chick, she's a friend of mine, I went for a party with her. And she looked at me and she's like, Grace, you've not slept for 3 days. I noticed you have not slept for 3 days. And she was like, what's wrong? Are you okay? And I'm just like, this is the first time someone had ever noticed I don't sleep, And I'm tired. I'm gravely tired. Like insomnia is not at ya uchoki. You're so tired, but you can't, you shut your eyes and it's just noise in your head. Like you can't, ulali. So, like I never used to sleep. So I look for those people who do benders. So it's,
keep it going.
So ikaanza sana when she noticed, I was like, there's something off, there's something that's going on, maze. So I quit my job and I just decided I need to do something about my life. Okay, I was like, if this job is toxic, hii ndio inanifanya, wacha niache. Sasa ujinga ni niliacha tu bila
notice, bila plan.
You frustrate you. And then another thing about the condition, I have not disclosed, I have bipolar II and ADHD. Or rather, let me just say I have lived experience with bipolar and ADHD. So for bipolar II, it has more depressive states than manic states. That's why I thought I was depressed.
Yeah.
And so when I was manic, I thought I'm okay. I thought I'm happy.
I'm good now.
Yeah. Because the mania comes with impulsivity. Ndio maana hata niliamka na nikaquit kazi. Like it comes with impulsivity. I'm telling you, there's a day I left. That time I think I was staying in Kino. I left Kino and went to Kino ama Kikuyu. Nikaenda Kahawa Sukari at 11 p.m. And then there's a time I was living in Kiambu. I left Kiambu to go to South Bay at sijui midnight. Yani I used to do crazy things and I was never afraid. Like at sijui kitu itakukuja.
Ikuji kwa akili. Wewe umetoka umeenda.
Na mimi niko sawa. I'm not even thinking there's someone who can come up and jump me or anything. I'm just not there. I'm just like, I want to go. So it's a funny thing because now later on when I became more aware of the symptoms, I used to joke with my friends that hiyo feeling imerudi, nasikia tu kuenda.
Naweza tu toka niende.
Lakini the good thing is at the time, when you start learning the management part, you're just like, you understand what that feeling is. So I sit with myself, I'm like, what am I running away from? Because mostly it was avoidance that triggered my going.
Yeah.
And that impulsivity of I just want to go. And you just want to go for and go. Hata ujui unaenda wapi. And so it's a high risk life. Yani unaanza tu ku-risk life yako. Because even the people you're partying with, sometimes you don't know them.
Yeah.
And then like the area I was, unaingia club moja, hata unaingia local moja, unaingia ingine, mnachukuana na watu.
By the time unafika logoli ya 3, hata huko na mwenye mlianza na yeye.
Hata ujua watu ni nani. So it was risky. Like I was living like a really risky life. So nikajirudia nikajiambia hapana, hapa kuna kitu mbaya. So in 2020 I went into like a serious bender, and then the people who are with you, when you're telling them wase hatuko sawa, you become the enemy.
Yeah.
So that day it was so bad. We had such a huge fight, and one of them was such a close friend of mine, and then I realized, by the way, is this person my friend? So unataka kujiuliza watu sasa hata ni marafiki zangu aje. You realize even the real ones, you left them.
Yeah.
And those are because they could have reflected how bad you've gotten. You know, they could have asked you and you didn't want, because you're ashamed also, because hujui kwa nini unafanya hizo vitu.
Yeah.
So 2020 now that bender happens, because unajua tulikuwa na a lot of time. And now before 2020 nataka kuongelelea about what happened in 2019, and I think you remember the walk and
Yeah.
now it was a very monumental time in my life because I'd quit my job in 2018. So around that time I got so depressed, I was suicidal. I was very suicidal. Yani nilikuwa nimengoja. Yes, I was still suicidal. I had been suicidal before. But then again, this one was bad. This one was, sasa sina hopes. Sasa there is nothing that can hold me to this world. Like nilikuwa ready kuenda. So I remember nikajiambia, wacha nisikize ngoma moja ama, you know, I had even done the whole thing for a whole week, or is it a month. I had a knife under my bed. I had pills under my pillow. Ilikuwa ile option ni gani. Unajua bado alafu unaogopa kwa sababu this is not really what you want.
Yeah.
You just want to kill off that pain. That's what I tell people who are suicide. You want to kill off that pain. You don't want to kill yourself. But sasa akili yako inajamba acha nijiondoe because I'm a burden to the people who love me. I'm a burden to everyone. I'm a burden to myself. And because you're a burden to you feel like you're a burden to yourself because you don't understand what's going on with you. And so that time, I remember I listened to this song called Silent for Khalid. It talks about how you find peace in your violence, you know, and whatever. And at that point, nikasema acha ningie IG kiasi. Nikiingia Instagram napata text kutoka Ima on my. I had started Mental Haven in 2017, I think, just as a thing to heal and whatever. And so I get a message from her on that page, and she's like, they want to do a walk and and I was like, yes, finally, it's happening. People know about this because I was tired of being judged, you know, and I was like, yeah, there are like-minded people out there, and now I had a reason to live, you know. So that moment was a very monumental time in my life. So after we did the walk and, you know, mental health became a thing and we started doing awareness creation, I still, sasa nilikuwa nimepata purpose. Nasema, yes, tuko poa. But now in 2020, I get depressed again.
Imerudi. So ngoja kwanza kiasi. Tunarudi na hiyo story. We take a short pause, tukunywe maji kiasi, then we are coming back juu. At least tupate time ya kubreathe. This story ni intense. So sana we'll be right back with the Gathitu podcast. Welcome back to the Gathitu podcast, and today we have Grace, and she's sharing her journey and her personal story with mental health. And tunasema hivi, I am sorry sikuweka hii trigger warning. Wakati imefika mahali story imekuwa intense, unaweza ukapost video, at least take a breather, take a glass of water, and unaweza rudi uendelee kuwatch the story, or unaweza ukaenda watch ngoma 2 ama 3 at least, just in case hii kitu inakutrigger or inakufanya una feel uncomfortable. However, because we are here to have open, honest and genuine conversations, narudi bado kwa Grace, and then tuendelee na story. Karibu back, Grace.
Thank you. Okay, so nimefika 2020.
Yeah.
So 2020, I see, after I went for the bender, I went on a bender, I got a depressive state again, and then sasa hiyo ilichanganyika na mania, ilikuwa kama ni zimechanganyika zote. So after now we vurugana with my friends nini, nikajambia mazee siishi life vizuri.
Yeah.
Like I'm just
bad.
There, and it's crazy mazee. I'm just like, you know. So and also at the time I didn't have a job.
Yeah.
So it was just really bad, and I nikafeel hata nikashindwa hata kunini, nilishindwa hata kurun mental leave. Nilikuwa tu I was just in a state. Your head is tired all the time. You're fatigued. You're doubting yourself all the time. Self-esteem yako iko on the floor. It was just crazy. So after that bender, I just called a friend of mine who we had done, what is it called? We had done activities for mental haven together. She's a psychologist called Lucy. So Lucy is the one who referred me to Dr. Kigamwa. Because I just called her and I told her I don't think I'm okay. I just don't think I'm fine. And this had actually, in 2019 nakumbuka nilikuwa Maureen ama nilikuwa nimetext msee nikamwambia maze, we had done on Cities Rise and we were going through the youth leadership poleni membrane. We had done a screening test for depression, and I was severely depressed. So I tell Lucy I don't think I'm okay, and she tells me it's gotten that bad. She asked me it's gotten that bad, and I was like, it's just bad. And so she refers me to a psychiatrist. So I nilijipeleka moja kwa moja kwa psychiatrist, because at the time I'm actually a psychologist. I know this is not right. I know hata nishadi diagnose najua okay, psychologists don't diagnose, but because of your knowledge background nilikuwa nashuku hii. So when I go to the psychiatrist, I was screened for ADHD and I was screened for bipolar II, of which nilienda kuambia daktari. I think I told the doctor, I think I have bipolar and ADHD. Like nilikuwa so he laughed. He laughed because I was wondering, not this one. So, but and then I explained everything about the benders I was having, about my relationships, because I was even dating very toxic men.
Yeah.
Like ilikuwa one toxic guy after the other, and then very non-committal. And unajiambia, oh, these guys are the problem, but really you also don't want commitment. Yeah. But unajidanganya pia, so you're lying to yourself in every aspect of your life. So I was dating very toxic guys. My life was a mess. It was chaotic. So I explained all that to the doctor, and then he laughed and was like, Grace, like, you're a professional, like you know this, like you didn't know, and like I knew, and that's why I'm here, to get a diagnosis, an official one. Yeah, I can't like taboo myself, and also like I needed a psychiatrist is the one who diagnoses you. Yeah. So he did the full thing, because sometimes depression is brought about by illnesses. Yeah, yeah. So I did a general checkup, your thyroid, your kidneys, your nini, to check if there is maybe issues. Even physical issues that are making maybe ukona a deficit of some hormones, or maybe you're on medication that's making you have a deficit of some hormones, which act also as neurotransmitters kama akina dopamine, akina serotonin. So sometimes zikienda low, you might experience a mental health condition or depression because of the side effects of the illness. So or medication you're on. So nikafanyiwa hiyo tests, and then he did for me screening for ADHD. I had chronic ADHD. So at that point when he was looking through the test, he was like, Grace, how have you been living?
Umefika huko aje?
Umefika miaka 27 ukiwa hizo vitu zote. Because ADHD is more of a neurological condition. It's attention deficit hyperactive disorder. Although most people with ADHD want to change that name because it's not really about...
makes vitu mbili separate.
Because it's not really about the attention most times. And it's not really about... Okay, because for ADHD, they think it's an attention deficit, which is part of a symptom. So the name of the condition is more of the symptoms you experience. But it's very diverse in ways. There's even anyone who... If I have ADHD and you have ADHD, we experience differently. Yeah, so for me, I had very bad executive functioning, meaning I couldn't... Sasa hapo focus ndio ilikuwa inaingia. I couldn't focus for more than... sijui hata 20 ama 30 minutes. Like I could hakuna at that point in my life for those 27 years. Kama ningemaliza movie, hiyo movie lazima ingekuwa kali. Ama ati sijui the slow burn movies, umeshaniacha first 10 minutes of the movie nafanya kitu ingine. Ama ishakuwa background noise, like I'm already gone, And so I started looking back, through primary, because ADHD ni kitu because it's a neurological condition, ni kitu inakuja from birth ama from very onset.
Early young.
Yeah, tuseme tu onset years. So I used to get lost in my head a lot. So ADHD is underdiagnosed in girls because for girls the hyperactivity is internal.
Yeah, for boys utaona they're running around.
They're running around. So for girls, you're just lost in your head a lot.
Yeah.
Nilikuwa na wander off. And then I realized that's why I used to be alone a lot. It wasn't even about even my family.
Mko na watu and then you're gone.
I wander off. I'd even be with my friends were in a circle. Najipata sijui, there's a time my brother came and was like, mbona umekaa? Mi hata sija notice nikitengana na watu. Mi niko form. Yani kwa kitu yangu.
Gone.
Yani I'm having the time of my life in my head, you know. So for me, like I used to zubalo, I used to think a lot. Like nilikuanga na process kitu from here to here. And then my pattern recognition is crazy. Like I think that's why I make a good psychologist. Because I'll just take this. And then like, what? We know the issue, of course. But then again, of course, una meeting yote nakwambia, of course people who are being defensive like you overthink a lot, but it's because nimekushika.
I remember you lied to me 3 months ago. I can pick it and you're like no.
So for me, so at that time at the doctor's office, my life changed. My life changed because it's not that I did not know I had an issue. I knew I had an issue, but I was ashamed, especially being a psychologist. You're thinking I need to be the one who has it together. But now I don't. And that's why ilifika point I wasn't practicing because I was ashamed of myself. I was like,
why am I
imposter syndrome?
Why am I helping others and I'm in trouble myself?
So I did not practice for a very long time also. So at the doctor's office, I put a name to my problem. And that is why diagnosis is so important. I put a name to my issue, so I knew what I was fighting. Like my invisible monster had a face now, you know. So that is when I started the journey, the steps. But no one tells you how difficult it is to take medication knowing I might take this medication for the rest of my life. I thought it, unajua nafikira ni dawa tu alafu utapona. First of all, I hated dawa. Even for homa, mimi nikiwa na homa na I bring it out.
Niue, let me die.
Wacha iniue. You know, I just take concussions. I'm a very pro-natural.
When you herbalist.
Yes, when you herbalist, bwana. So sasa, at this point, I'm thinking I was diagnosed with chronic ADHD and Bipolar II. So I go home and I'm excited in the way. And then all of a sudden I'm like, oh man.
Dawa.
Unaanza kunywa hizi dawa. There's a time I remember looking at my pills and I wanted to take them all. Because I was like, this will be my life. Yani unafeel kama quality ya life yako. Yani this is the good thing. There are two sides to putting a name to that condition. The first side is, yes, I finally know what it is I'm battling. But the second side is, oh my God, I'm going to live with this for the rest of my life. So my quality of life has pungukad. You know? So unasikia tu, and then now it becomes permanent. You think at that attention you never had that you're going to get it back if you do this and this. Now you realize, siezi, yani hivyo tu ndo iko.
Niko hivi, this is me for the rest of my life.
Yeah, and I have to do some CBT stuff, you know, to like cognitive behavioral therapy and more therapy to get in line with, you know, what you need alternatively for that. So, so my life changed drastically in those two ways. Like I knew what I was dealing with and now, oh man, I'm dealing with this. So I remember looking at those pills and thinking, sinimalize hii story bana. Then I started getting suicidal. Now that is why I say pills are not magic pills. Si ati ukikunywa hizo dawa is stuff imeisha. Now I've become a normal person, quote unquote. A normal person. What happened? It's just it's a whole journey. And I remember calling one of my friends. His name is Ngonu. I think unamjua. And I told him, because he had experience with medication, and I told him, wow, maze, I didn't think this was hard. And nilikuwa naacha dawa sana. Naacha. Let me go back to how I got over that suicidal ideation. I called a friend, and that's how I got into another bender. Because people don't know how to hold space. They're just like, come, we drink.
Kuja tukunywe. Uko, niko, come.
So I got into another bender. I'm like, no, Grace, get like, together. So I go back home, and I'm just like, you know what? I'm going to face this thing head on because I'm fighting with it as well. So I go to therapy, an intensive trauma healing therapy. And I think it was like for 2 months. And I realized mental health conditions are also exacerbated, like they're made worse by existing trauma.
Yeah.
So dealing with this trauma enabled me to look at my condition as something that I could handle. Because now this trauma was making me a bit, it was making the situation too dire. Like, death, life sentence, you know.
Yeah.
So when I started looking into my trauma, my childhood trauma is something, you know, the thing as a psychologist, I always ask someone, where did you begin? How was it when you were growing up? How were your relationships? It's such an important, such a pivotal nini in building up your healing journey, because hapo ndio vitu zilianza, especially in your formative years, which is around 0 to 7 years. Hapo ndio you pick up most of the habits you have even as an adult.
Yeah.
Most of the things that you think of yourself, you know, all that stuff. Because hizi vitu utamimi kama pick up in that formative stage, you will form them as your identity in your identity formation stage, which is from 12 to
adolescence.
20, adolescence.
Yeah.
That is what you will see. This is ndio mwana sikianga even ndio miukua.
Hayo ni mimi.
But that's not really who you are. But then niliacha kusema hiyo kitu because
This is me.
there's something behind that. Yeah. So at that point, my friend helps me through the fighting with medication. And I remember being in a support group and another lady also saying, yani, it's a fight taking that medication. Because, you know, it's like you're admitting, enyewe, kimeumana, I am weak.
Yeah.
You know, you feel like in your mind you're admitting to yourself, I'm weak. Or like I have a death sentence now, right? Because it's sort of like a chronic illness. Because you're going to have to live with it for the rest of your life. Because this is, nasemanga ni kama, maybe ulieka petrol, ulieka gari maji, mahali pa petrol. So umeharibu gari.
Yeah.
So you can't go back.
Yeah.
Like
that engine is busted.
Imeishia, you know. So you're going to have to do something else or maybe replace the engine or something for the car to work again. So it's sort of like that with mental health. But there are some that are situational, you know. Yeah. Maybe I lost someone. I'm grieving, so I'm depressed, in the depressive stage
grieving ikiisha.
You're okay, you know. I lost a job. That's also a process of grief because you've lost something. Yeah. So you're depressed for some time, ukipata job ingine, story imeisha. So, but then again, the fact that you are in such a long period of, especially if it takes longer, you never really go back. Yeah. Hata kama ni your situation.
Ime shape life yako ime change.
Because now the way your brain, because it's also, it's biological. A mental health condition is also biological in the sense that if your neurotransmitters haziproduciwi the way they should. Ni kama unakumbuka kitambo hasa alikuwa amesema umefire.
Umefiat.
It's because your synopsis and ni kama kuna kitu the nini is not firing, your synopsis is not firing. So your neurotransmitters are not being taken through the normal system, your nervous system. So it's unapata sasa it also controls your moods. Yeah. So kama uko na some form of like a mood like your moods are not stable, then it's a hormonal issue. Unaweza pimwa at least uone maybe uko na deficit na mahi. So a lot of people think that mental illness is something you do to yourself. It's something you believe because people used to say, yeah, it's all in your head. But yes, it is in my head.
It's in the brain.
My brain is sick. You know, like, hiki tunaniambia ni
it is physical. There is something wrong with the brain. The brain is not working as it should.
It should,
That's why my mind is the way it is.
Yeah. So, so a lot of people say that thing for it's all in the head, it's all in the head. But it's true, it's in the head, as you said. And it's just at that moment, when you admit to yourself that, okay, I'm going through this, that is the beginning of a whole other journey. Yeah. You get? So, kuna hii kufight na dawa, nilikuwa na fight na dawa, kuingia, then you start seeing your flaws. You know, because sasa kitu yako imekam. For me, stimulants come which is very weird because it's supposed to
stimulate.
Yeah. So stimulants make me nikikunywa coffee ndadoze. Like it's just like because even what they give you for ADHD is that like in squeezing, I think a lot of people are taking Concerta for ADHD, and it's a stimulant. So it's na nilikuanga na bipolar 2, so I need something to bring me up, bring me down. You know, like it's crazy. So at night I take the pill for the bipolar 2, which was I think Pitipin. It used to make me so groggy and so, you know, like usipokunywa Concerta the next day, I will not survive the day. Yani, and maybe this is something employers need to understand.
So it takes you so down, you can't bring yourself up.
Yeah, and employers need to understand that someone who's on medication, like bro, uniambia ningia hapo 8 itakuwa ngori ndashinda nikichelewa, and then you'll reprimand me, but the truth is I really don't want to get late, but maze nilishindwa kuamka. Nataka kuambia mdosi hiyo. But then again, so what I do is I'd keep my bottle of Concerta really close. So nikiamka ni pop. Ndio sasa, because it takes like 1 hour to set in. So by the time I'm preparing myself, nisha akili imeamka. So nilika kunywa medication from like 2021 to like 2023. 2022, I went on a drug holiday. I discovered something called a drug holiday. That is now when you stop taking your medication for like 2 weeks or a month, but it has to be supervised by your psychiatrist. Lazima akwambie, okay, now you're in a better state. And the thing I loved about my psychiatrist is he asked if I had a psychologist, if I had a therapist, because it has to be holistic. You have to incorporate other mechanisms. You know, you have a therapist, because psychiatrists are not therapists.
Then you wapo kwa
pills,
what are you
your
using?
Physical, you know. And then for a therapist, they deal with your emotions.
Emotions
and your, you know,
make sure your social is good, your life is going well.
And then you incorporate things like, you know, your diet. Diet nutrition. Is very important. Your nutrition and, you know, and exercise. So it's a holistic thing. So in this is 2022, I took a drug holiday. Then that drug holiday opened up things for me, because now unaanza kuona the trauma you have. You know, now when you're not so numbed out, now you can hear, you can feel the. So after that trauma therapy, again, the thing about therapy is unatokanga hapo ukifeel poa. And that's why I think I tell my clients, listen, I know you're going to feel good when you get out here, but that's when the work has begun. So it might go downhill before it goes completely, you know. So that time, nimetoka, nimefeel, nimesolve issues zangu, niko sawa, wacha ianze kwenda downhill now. And the good thing is my therapist warned me.
Ashakwambia.
So, nakwambia, it's the hard, people don't say enough how forgiving yourself is harder than forgiving even someone who did the worst thing to you. Like forgiving yourself. Hapo ndo inakwanga. Anyway, so I discover I can stay without medication. And then the second or third drug holiday I took, it was because it was too expensive. I think I used to spend like 16,000 a month on medication. So na ya sina hiyo do, and then, you know, like pesa napata ni ile hand to mouth. I mean mouth to hand to mouth. So inafika mahali when like I can't afford it. So unasema let me wing it. Kani nimechizi wase
tabidi tu mnikubali, hivi ndio kuko. Hivyo ndio kuko.
So I incorporated a lot of, you know, the nutrition, the healthy eating, the exercise, and I started feeling better. Nikajidanganya nimepona. Sasa. And then one time zikararuka nikaenda in such a low, and I was like, wow, kwani this thing never ends. Yani it's like you keep having hope it will end, you know, like itaisha. And the more you have hope, the more you're not dealing with it. So, okay, that is such a wrong thing to say. Any statement imetoka, but like
iko tu sawa. Hiyo ndio true. Hiyo ndio true.
Okay.
Iko tu sawa.
Okay. So, at the end of the day, so 2022, 2023 ikaingia. Okay, 2022 I went through a very traumatic thing which I won't talk about right now.
No problem.
With the relationship I was in, and that is when I sat and I asked myself, do I really think I deserve this kind of treatment or this kind of love?
Yeah.
Because in my head, honestly, let me just tell you, I don't even think I loved this person. But then again, because I needed to belong, I needed to,
Yeah.
and it was so traumatic that it just rewired my whole life. And so I started telling myself I need to love myself a bit better. And so I started the process of therapy again.
Yeah.
And therapy is very, even as a professional, therapy is very monumental. And so I decided, I went back on medication again. And then last year in September, I lost my best friend by suicide. She completed suicide, and so I got bad. But now I noticed I was okay.
Yeah.
I was taking medication. I started taking, ilikuwa precaution. I started taking medication because I was like, hey, hii kitu imenigonga, inaweza nigonga vibaya, wacha ni.
Yeah.
So I started taking medication to handle the heaviness of the matter. But later on I realized, because last year I'd put such an emphasis on my spiritual life. Remember I said it's holistic. So sikuwa nime-incorporate spirituality in all this other. So once I incorporated spirituality, it's sort of like a foundation. And spirituality can look however it does to every individual.
Yeah.
If you want to worship by a mountain, okay.
You go.
Or facing the mountain, do you.
What
as long
works
as
for
ni
you.
kitu inaku ground.
Yeah.
You get. So I incorporated that, and then I realized I don't need this medication. But it had been a journey. You get, it had been something I had actively worked on, even without knowing I had worked on. Because I remember that first time I quit that toxic job, because ni get out of that bender. I remember telling my friend, I'm going on a mental health cleanse. Akaniuliza hiyo nini? Nikamwambia hata mimi sijui, but ina sound kama ni kitu inafanyika. I just needed to change my life. That is all I knew. I needed to stop drinking that much. Because I don't even like alcohol. As we speak, I don't even drink now. Okay, it might be because of the baby, but still. It was easy for me to stop drinking even when I was pregnant.
Yeah.
I remember someone asked me, how did you stop drinking for 9 months? I was like, because I'd already stopped even before I got pregnant. Nilikuwa tu sawa. So, I started finding balance, finding balance. Incorporating all those things. And then at that moment, I had gone for that trauma healing therapy 3 years before that. But at this moment, that's when that therapy was making sense now.
It's working now.
Because now I realized, you have this. You need to take it on.
Yeah.
And there's this BBC documentary that talks about the black dog. And I really like it when I refer people to that documentary, because it talks about how the more you accept that illness, the more you accept that, they call depression a black dog, the more it lessens, the more it lessens. So I started embracing it. I started saying, okay, I started seeing the perks in it. The pattern recognition with my ADHD, like the
way it is positive in your life.
In my life, the way it's even effective in my career, I started looking at, I started saying, okay, my attention is shazaraka. Okay, so now I know I need to do more things that engage me. Yeah. So I had to be very intentional even about the jobs I chose. They need to be engaging. Yeah. Because ukinipoteza tu kidogo hivi.
Nimeenda hivyo.
Hata nishaanza kusema hii job hata because so I recognize these are my weaknesses, these are my strengths. Yeah. It's not a death sentence to have a mental illness or a mental health condition, because it's you can even, because for me now what happened after I started incorporating all that, I started noticing even talking about and helping other people is also something that gives me meaning, because you need a lot of meaning and purpose when you have a mental health condition. Ndio usifike mahali penye you're hopeless, you'll die. Yeah. So imekuwa hivyo. I used to think that now because I have this condition, I can't be a good mom. So I had told myself I'm never getting married and I'm never getting children, because I thought that I wasn't good enough. And I thought that thing had put a permanent mark in my life. But now once I got to that point of acceptance, I accepted myself, I loved myself for who I was, I now realized I have so much love to give, and I wanted a baby. At that point, I felt like, it's too late.
Miaka zimeenda.
because nimekimbia bwana, niko like, oh Lord. Sasa when do I get someone?
Sasa you have to look
I'm
for
32.
someone.
I have to start looking for someone. So at that point I was like, nikamwambia Mungu jo, it's okay, but you say you perform miracles, just make it happen. You know, I made it as a prayer, and I just told him, and I would love to be a mom.
Yeah.
But if it is not your will, because I'm also, I'm not religious per se, but I practice religion to help my spirituality.
Yeah.
So I'm very spiritual.
Yeah.
So I just made a prayer, and I told God, if it is your will for me not to have a baby, that's okay. But nihurumie tu.
Akuone huruma. So let's hold it up hapo hivi. We'll be right back. Kwa hii story wacha tupunge hewa kiasi. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Uko Fiti Podcast, and today we have a very interesting guest, and she's telling us her story. And saa hii tunataka kuangalia hiyo life experience. Whatever she went through, hizi vitu zote, how is that now complementing, ama ina add value gani, ama inamsaidia aje in her professional life kama therapist. So karibu sana Grace, please tell us how your experience with of course kwenda kwa psychiatrist, your experience with ADHD and Bipolar II, how is that now adding value to you as a therapist?
Yeah, so
and also don't forget your first experience ule therapist wa kwanza. Ule wa kwanza mwenye alikuwa karibu usikue therapist.
Karibu.
How is that? How your lesson? How does that also now factor in when you are as a therapist?
Okay. So for me, even when I was in school, I had decided I will be more of an eclectic. Nilikuwa na pick different schools of thought.
Yeah.
And of course, as I continued in life and I became wiser, the more I knew nothing.
Yeah.
And I realized that humans are evolving.
Yeah.
You know, I can't choose just one thing and think this will work. And that is why psychology is not a science.
Yeah.
It's not based on like, this is a fact.
So
The way
something
you
which
can
is
think, if I boil water to 100,
which
it's
is
not
like
that.
it's not cast in stone.
Yeah. So it's more theory based. That's why you even get a Bachelor of Arts in psychology, because it's more human based. So it's a social science basically.
Yeah.
So for me, I felt like my experience, I always feel like everything I experience I need to incorporate it into helping someone else.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's my purpose or whatever, but I believe it is.
Yeah.
That everything I have experienced is teaching me how to handle the next person who've experienced that very same thing, or holding space for someone who's experienced that. So through even my advocacy work and even my professional life, I realized having that experience made me more sensitive to people's issues.
Yeah.
It made me more empathetic. Yes, I still had empathy, but now it made me more empathetic, because now I was like, I don't think anything is, you know, I can't downplay anything. Like, is this serious for you? Because there are times when you'd have episodes that people are just thinking, sasa huyu.
And overreact.
So for me, if you come and tell me something is an issue for me, it's an issue for you.
Yeah.
And I believe you.
Yeah.
And we will work with it.
Yeah.
You know, even if it sounds insane for me, I will work with it. And I find that makes people more confident. You build a better rapport with I build a better rapport with my clients.
Yeah.
And I always find that they feel understood. They feel humanized, because I don't know if I'll get into trouble for this, but it gets to a point, I'm just, I will use the method that works. And sometimes kama ni kupiga story, I can tell someone, by the way, now we are not in therapy.
Yeah.
Tupige tu story. Because you've noticed this person ameingia, I'm in counseling, so there's a format.
Yeah.
And I'm like, there are people who find it a bit, so they're closing
accurate ile information anakupea, but kwa like laid back, you're just pigaing story, ita come out more, you'll get more information, and information itakusaidia kumsaidia.
Because I'll find clients who wanna have a difficulty in maybe expressing themselves, because wamejiingiza kwa hiyo, no, I'm in And another thing is people actually struggle with the fact that they're in therapy, because imefanywa like you have a problem. And therapy is something you can even go, even maybe your dog died. It's valid. You know, something, ama you just, maybe you want to talk about something, you know. So for me, I make it more of a conversation. If I feel like you're a bit tensed up, and I'll be like, in any other therapy session, I feel like it's you. I put you in the center. It's person-centered.
Yeah.
Such that you're the one who will guide me on how we will go through this process. I won't tell you how to do it, because most people come to psychologists telling them, now tell me what to do.
Yeah.
I tell someone, but then in the beginning, I'll just tell you, if you're coming here expecting me to tell you what to do, you're in the wrong place.
Yeah.
Because you will tell yourself what to do, but I will guide you. That's why it's guidance and counseling. Like, I will guide you with how I've been trained is I'll ask you questions, or I'll look at something. I'll have now the ADHD, the pattern recognition. I'll look at something, this is attached to this and this. So I will know the direction to take you through.
Yeah.
So that's how that symptom has assisted me. Having that sensitivity, I'm a very sensitive person. But then again, building those boundaries has helped me use that sensitivity to be more empathetic with people. Of course, unajua empathy could very fast turn into sympathy, and then now you've lost your way.
Tunataka tuanze kulia kwa therapy.
So for me, that sensitivity I have made it more of a strength by incorporating boundaries in it. And the insomnia, that's when I do work. That's when but nowadays I don't get insomnia as much. But when I do, I'll write, or my art is suffering because now
insomnia imepotea. Unalala sana. We need more insomnia.
So there's that, and it's in a way that because they say that when you have bipolar, you lack something called latent inhibition, meaning you'll just take in everything, It's more of a symptom. So I want to learn this, and I used to be like that. I used to want to know everything, But, that one, sasa you become a jack of all trades.
And a specialist of none.
And a specialist of none. You're just gathering moss. No, you're not gathering. You're a rolling stone that's not gathering moss. So, ikafika point, I was like, and I would start projects and not finish because there's something called, in ADHD, something called hyperfixation. I'll be hyperfixated, and you can mistake that for interest.
Yeah.
Because now you'll think, I'm interested in this, but now you're just really hyperfixated. It just looks interesting. I just really wanna. So if you don't have boundaries with that, you can think, I'm interested in this. Katikati will scare. But I don't.
Why am I even here?
Why am I here? So. Like, for me, I have to ask myself, am I interested or am I hyperfixated?
Yeah.
And the hyperfixation helps, especially if you have projects that are, like, really demanding.
And short-term.
Yeah, because I will give you results, bro. And also, I feel like because I don't fungia myself in thinking about different perspectives and diverse perspectives, I am quite creative. Like, I can come up with something out of this world because nime incorporate kila kitu. And also that diversity and that empathy helps me deal with every person from every background. Maybe I don't judge. Like, it's just whoever you are, that's how you feel fine, If I'm not okay with, of course you have to have like boundaries in a sense. I don't subscribe, but then again, I won't judge you for it, And so it's not been easy, but once I managed, now I'm fully off medication. Sija cheesy. Niko sawa, but that doesn't mean once in a while, especially once I got my baby, I was very scared. I thought I'd get postpartum depression, and nilikuwa nimeshajipatia ma sentences hapo. But then again, I realized that I had done so much work and I was ready. Having this child has made me even more grounded. Has made me, I see myself in that kid sometimes, and I don't think I would have been able to if I didn't do therapy. I really advocate for therapy. And so having that understanding of myself and self-love, it makes me able to love others. It makes me, that thing that I thought, that sensitivity, because people with ADHD are very sensitive, by the way. They're very sensitive. And it's not sensitivity to emotions, it's also sensory. Like sometimes there's a noise, wewe uisikii lakini nasikia what is that noise guys, upate tu ni kakitu tu kana yani there's something that's maybe like ticking or and you didn't hate but that thing is
inakuirritate,
like it needs to and it's even worse for people with autism. If you look at now the neurodiverse field, people with autism sounds can take them to like moments of distress. Like if it's loud sounds or it's just like an irritating, it can take them there. So it depends. Iko na ADHD na autism zinapelekananga hivi pia. But they also go with spectrums. Yeah. So it's a blessing and a curse at the same time. It's a good thing and a but now I choose to see it as more of a blessing because if I didn't have that experience, I would have never been a psychologist. I would like to believe I have really helped a lot of people that have come my way. I would have never become a mental health advocate. I would have never influenced any space that I've ever been in. I would have just been maybe a boring corporate person who's
just 9 to 5.
Probably killed themselves a long time ago.
9 to 5. Unaingia kwa nyumba unalala kesho.
Yeah, if I didn't have the illness, I wouldn't have killed myself. Okay, so I'd just be a boring person. So I feel like it adds some spice. It adds some spice to my life. Sometimes my friends sit with me and just like, Grace, how do you think about that? Because me, I can think about really wild things. Like it's just... And sometimes I also sit and I'm just like, what?
That time when you're dishtua.
Yeah, but that is where my innovation comes from. So I would, it's not, why I'm comfortable talking about it is I don't think it's a bad thing. There's a lady who found out I had bipolar and was like, why are you so calm? Bipolar, it doesn't mean that I'm just on a rampage all the time. You know, sometimes people confuse symptoms with the condition itself. Maybe there's a time, and it's more social than... I like looking at it with the social model. And the social model talks about how your environment affects you. And so for me, when I realized that, I started incorporate the spaces I was in. I was very careful about the people I'm hanging around, very careful about the job I'm doing. Yani inakusaidia kukuwa more intentional with your life. So for me, even in my professionality, I'm very intentional. I'm very intentional about how I live my life, the people I keep in my life, because that is what is making me not take medication. You know, that is
Support
what is
system.
helping me. Because ukijingisha kwa vitu zingine, now trauma comes in, you're triggered, you're a mess, you know, like it's a lot of things. So once self-awareness is not easy. It's not... You know, people think, I'm self-aware. No, it's not easy. Stop making it simple.
Work in progress.
Work in progress. You know, because self-awareness now opens the wound. Now it's time to treat it. You know? So, so I can say it's really helped me because now I can put on your shoes and, you know, like not really feel your exact pain, but I can understand what you might be going through, and that helps me in my career.
That's nice. So, tukimaliza, would you like to share your socials with people who might want to follow you, you know, maybe people who like to engage with you, maybe have a deeper conversation about maybe your life, or they like also to come and share their life with you, or maybe they just like what you do and would like to get in touch. You can share your socials if you so want. Unaweza ukashare alafu
we mafisi.
Lazima haina za rautia.
So I think I want to give my professional on Instagram. Okay, I am a founder of Mental Haven. It's a mental health organization that gives safe spaces to persons with psychosocial disability or just people who need safe spaces, and it's youth-led. So on Instagram, it's mental_haven, haven with HAVEN. And then on X.
Twitter. X.
Anyway, so on X, it's at haven_mental. Facebook tuko kwa waze.
Huko ni kwenye octogenarians meet.
Just Mental Haven. So you can ask for Grace on those socials if you want to engage with me more. I really do not want to give my personal one.
Tutakutafuta.
Mtani nioneni kando.
We will look for you.
Nioneni kando. Yeah, so yeah, basically that's it.
So thank you very much for gracing us. No, venye nimeweka hiyo grace. Thank you very much for gracing us with your presence and also for sharing your story with us. At Ukofiti, we want to platform these stories. We want to platform these conversations because we've been working hard about normalizing mental health conversations. And we thought the best way to do it is to get into the socials and also have young people come and express themselves and talk. Because the way you said, this is social. So even if tumekuja hapa tunapiga tu story, somebody might labda ametoka kwa nyumba amekasirika, but we had a very good time.
Yeah.
By the time anatoka hapa ako sawa. Maybe msee alikuwa na some level of stress. By the time amekuja ame-engage na friends, amecheka, hiyo kitu imemtoka, ama at least imepungua. So that is our vision as Ukofiti, just to platform young people and also to prioritize mental health and mental wellness. So asante sana. That has been Ukofiti Podcast. See you in the next episode.
Ukofiti.